Specially designed instruction has been defined by IDEA. Let's start unpacking this definition. We'll begin by addressing the first component of the definition, adapting the content, methodology, or delivery of instruction. What adaptations are appropriate to meet the needs of a child eligible for special education services to access and progress in the current classroom content? As we unpack content, this really is referring to what students will learn. It's directly linked to standards. It's the substance of the knowledge, skills, and dispositions that is taught that is specific to a student with a disability. Methodology, how instruction is designed. It's the instructional design of content using evidence-based practices matched to unique student needs. And finally, the word delivery is referring to where and when learning will occur, the instructional context of conditions specific to the student with a disability. And the delivery should result in access to and participation in and progress in the curriculum. Let's go on to review the next portion of the definition. Specially designed instruction is meant to address the unique needs of the student with a disability. Teachers often use a variety of instructional approaches in order to meet the needs of all learners. However, specially designed instruction takes this a step farther and requires the instruction to be provided to the student as specified in his or her Individualized Education Program, or IEP. Differentiated instruction, personalized learning, explicit instruction, and other high-yield instructional strategies are available to all students, whether or not they are eligible for special education services, and should be used by all teachers in order to scaffold instruction and meet the needs of the different learners in their classrooms across all ability levels. So how is specially designed instruction different from these things? Here we see an important distinction. Specially designed instruction goes beyond differentiated instruction to address the unique needs that exist because of a student's disability. And it should be implemented in addition to, not in place of, differentiated instruction. The definition also refers to specially designed instruction as being used to ensure access to the general education curriculum. Providing a student access to the general education curriculum goes beyond exposure to grade level content standards. It is the responsibility of the instructor to ensure that each student has the supports needed to make the content accessible to him or her. Creating equitable access for students with disabilities involves ensuring active, meaningful participation for each student. Students with disabilities work toward the same standards as their grade level peers. They do this through adequate instructional supports across the day, and then appropriate accommodations and modifications. Beyond these general introductory statements concerning access to the general curriculum, both IDEA in 1997 and 2004 specifically require that students with disabilities be involved in and progress in the general education curriculum. Thus, the overall right to have access to the general curriculum can, in fact, be viewed as consisting of three interrelated stages: access, involvement, and progress. Let's take a look at these three within the cycle of ensuring access to the general education curriculum. The first is access. This refers to the accessibility of the curriculum to the student. Next, involvement. This is the ongoing process of meaningful participation by the student in the general education curriculum. And third, progress. Progress in the general education curriculum refers not only to the final outcome, but also to an evaluative measure that can feed back into the earlier stages. Let's remember, instruction provided at the right level of difficulty is distinct from simply providing easier content. Equity for students served in special education is about equity of results or outcomes, not providing identical or equal content or instruction. We need to know the difference. It is at the very end of the definition that we see the true purpose for specially designed instruction. It's so that the child can meet the educational standards that apply to all children. In other words, The expectation and goal of special education is that students with disabilities will accelerate growth towards grade level standards and close achievement gaps. Think back to Module 3.1, where we examined belief systems around students with disabilities and the necessity for a culture of high expectations for all students, regardless of disability status. An important connection can certainly be made here.